Welcome to Inside the Force. I'm Greg Grunberg, a.k.a. Snap Wexley.
It is a period of Star Wars mania, as new movies, comic books, novels, and TV shows populate the system. Fueled by their love and passion for the galaxy far, far away, two exceptional geeks tap into hundreds of holocrons in order to bring you the knowledge and insight of all things Star Wars. Come and join them as they go inside the Force.
Hey everybody, welcome back Inside the Force. Dave Cottingham, and not with me is Casey, but guest Russell Johnson. How are you, sir?
Hey everybody, thanks for having me on the show. Appreciate it.
Yes. I figured this week, since we did a show kind of relatively a little later in the week last week, wasn't really a lot of big news to talk about and stuff like that, so I thought I'd bring on Russ because, as we introduced the last couple episodes, Russ is going to be doing our comic reviews for the show. So, great job last week, Russ.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Good books are... I do want to say... I was thinking about this today. I was like, as you know, Dave, I'm a huge comic book fan.
Correct.
However, I've never been a huge fan of TV and or movie comic book adaptations and expanded stuff. So when Force Awakens, and last time I was on the show, we talked about the teaser.
Correct.
Trailer that came out for Force Awakens.
Which was a long time ago, actually.
It was. But when Marvel announced they were going to do a series, I was like, okay, because I didn't really read any of the Dark Horse stuff when they were doing the Star Wars stuff, because that was all kind of EU in a lot of ways, except for Son of the Dathomir for Darth Maul, which is the one book I still need to read. But I figured with Marvel coming out with these books, I'm going full force. So I've been reading all the titles, and I've actually liked it. I think the Star Wars universe is big enough, and they have enough characters that they can do all these multiple stories. So yeah, I've jumped on board, and I've liked the majority of stuff that's been coming out.
So what has been your favorite?
Darth Vader has probably been my favorite. Probably just the Star Wars title has been probably number 2. Everything else is kind of falls in this. I think my least was Chewbacca.
Yeah.
Because the only problem with that story, in a comic book anyway, is that, Chewbacca's there. Again, you don't understand his dialogue.
Right.
So it's really the other characters are carrying the story. Chewbacca's just there making noises every now and again. So I don't know. I like the art in it. Phil Noto, who drew it, I loved his artwork, but that was probably my least favorite. And there's been some of these stories outside of Star Wars. Vader, which I had mentioned last week, that is going to end at issue 25.
Right.
I think the writer had Kieran Gillen had a complete story he wanted to tell. I don't know where it'll go from there. There's been no announcements on that or anything, but and some of these have been very short runs of stuff as stories. But probably Vader and Star Wars have been my top 2 right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've really liked. I thought the whole Vader down storyline was incredible. The first kind of crossover they did between Star Wars and Vader. I loved the Lando books.
Lando was a good book.
Charles Soule wrote that.
Mm-hmm.
As you know from, as some of you may or may not know, me and Russ were doing a comics in the comics podcast for a long time, where we talked about a lot of these writers that are actually coming over to do these Star Wars themes. Because I never read Marvel until Star Wars started.
Dave never. Well, Dave, I got to say that at this point in my comic book reading, really, Star Wars is pretty much the only Marvel stuff I'm reading right now.
Okay, well, yeah, that's good. That's good. DC, DC kind of restarted their stuff. Not restarted, but rebirth and all that. But anyway, so the comics have been going strong now for a couple of years, and it hasn't been a couple. Yeah, it's been a couple of years now, right? Yeah, they're on Star Wars 20, so yeah, it's been almost 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
When Star Wars debuted, so Lando stands out to me. I mean, yeah, Obi-Wan and Anakin was okay. I'm with you on the Chewbacca thing. Shattered Empire was really good, leading up to.
Oh yeah, you're right.
The series that came out before Force Awakens. Yep. So it's really good, and you know what, and I didn't know. I was a little confused at first when they announced Princess Leia and they announced Lando and they announced Shattered Empire, where these books were only 5 books, 4 or 5 books, and then it ended. So I was really kind of concerned, like why are they doing that? Where why don't they have an ongoing series and kind of thing? Well, I actually have grown to like this better, where they just do a kind of one storyline. And they kind of put it away, and then they go on to somebody else, and because like right now they started Poe Dameron, obviously,
right?
But I think that's an ongoing series.
As of right now, I think so. It is, yeah.
But Han, I think is only a 5-issue series. So
yeah.
So you kind of, and I like that. I like kind of knowing, and what's really cool about that too is, I'm starting to already fill up my shelves with the graphic novels of them, which is the collection. So I've got Princess Leia and Lando and Shattered Empire and the first volume of Star Wars on there. So it's like, I'm starting to fill those up with, so you don't have to sit there and actually wait every month. Or, I mean, you can get them every month, but then you can actually, if you don't want to, you can actually wait for about 5 or 6 months and you can buy the whole series basically when it comes out in the trade. So anyway, yeah, that's, we'll get more into the comics here in a second. I wanted to bring Russ on because I wanted you guys to get familiar with his voice. Like I said, because I think you've only been on the show twice actually before this one. I actually looked back. You were on a long time ago, and then you were on again when the teaser trailer for episode 7 debuted. So let's just kind of do a real quick recap because since you haven't been on the show for a while, but. Because on the show you actually haven't given your Force Awakens review. So now that you've seen it numerous times,
yes, I have.
talk about your feelings about episode 7.
Episode 7, I loved episode 7. It really, there's probably been, as you probably have talked about at some point or another. There's been a lot of criticism that it's too close to episode 4 and kind of follows that same storyline and all that stuff. But I really, when I saw it, I loved it. I literally loved it almost as much. And I've said this numerous times in various podcasts, whether it be 21 Podcast or this or whatever. But, I saw episode 4 when I was 9 years old, and it literally blew me away. It was like the greatest movie I'd ever seen in my life. It made me want to become who I am today as a director and being involved in film and video and everything else. And in Force Awakens kind of did the same thing for me. And what really, I've said this before, I think I said on the 21 Podcast, but what really got me, I saw it 4 times in theaters. And when I was 9 years old, I saw episode 4 times in theater. And that's literally the most I've seen a movie in a theater. That takes a lot of effort to go to a theater and watch a movie.
Right.
But what really got me was I took my now 12-year-old daughter to go see Force Awakens, just me and her. and she'd never. I mean, she's seen the Star Wars movies, but she's again, she's at that age. It's like, she hadn't really bought into the whole thing, and
right.
she has her own taste and stuff. But when she saw Force Awakens, and we talked about it afterwards, she was just like, she's like, once it started, I couldn't take my eyes off the screen. It was just, there was so much going on, and I mean, she loved Rey, which was, for me as a dad, with 2 girls and 2 boys now, for her to attach herself to a character like Rey, like I did, and most guys did, either Luke or Han, in the original trilogy, that really sold it for me. I'm like, I have a kid that was close to my age, and she saw it, and she was as blown away as I was at that age. So I loved The Force Awakens. I love the new characters. It really felt like, again, I think J.J. Abrams really, maybe he mirrored it too closely for some people, but for me, I loved it. I thought Kylo Ren has become, honestly, he's one of my... out of all the villains in the Star Wars universe, he is, I mean, behind Darth Vader. And to do that in such a iconic, character-driven series, to bring a new character in that's that closely, at least on my chart, close to Darth Vader, and as his grandson, and to do that and make me believe it and buy it, and just, he's an incredible villain. Even with the mask on, I thought it was great when he had the mask off. I thought that was like really showed who he was. I love the tie-in with being Ben Solo, and all in all, Force Awakens. I own the Blu-ray, the DVD, the digital copy. I own it on Amazon. It is probably the only movie I've owned like on every platform possible. So for me, yes, Episode 7, absolutely 5-star. Loved it. Love it.
Yeah, I echo all that too. So now that that's over with, have you felt the excitement yet for Rogue One?
Well, when I saw the teaser trailer, I thought it was great. I loved, again, every aspect of that, being that it's between Episode 4 and Episode 5. Getting the Death Star planet.
It's before.
I'm sorry,
before
right.
Episode 4.
Episode 4, right? But I thought, I think what I saw, I don't know much about it, and I do really like that they are doing, these a Star Wars story. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I like that aspect of it. So I love the teaser. I thought it was very intriguing. Again, I love the fact that they have another female character who's front and center in all this. All in all, I was pumped about Rogue One. I'm excited for it.
So no worries about these rumored reshoots. Have you heard about this?
I have heard about that, and I read it online, and I was kind of like, again, internet stuff, and you and I have talked about this on, again, numerous podcasts about my distrust of internet rumors and or news stories that say, oh, well, now that they're doing reshoots and the executives watched it and they said, well, it needs to be lighter, or it needs to be this, or it needs to be that, and everybody has this knee-jerk reaction to reshoots. But, I mean, you and I both know that it's pretty typical in movies in general that there are always reshoots, pretty much, for the most part, going into it. So I'm not concerned, because when I saw the trailer, I thought it was pretty solid. I liked where it was going. I liked the intrigue. I liked the mystery of what's happening and how it all unfolds. So I'm not worried about it. It's, to me, it kind of, have you seen the rumors that Suicide Squad is having reshoots? And
yeah,
well, I mean, I think that's, again, from personal experience and kind of being, I mean, I'm not in the tentpole movie business, but I mean, reshoots are typical. I mean, there's stuff that's got to be done to make it what it is. So, no, I'm not worried about it. I mean, I kind of take that with a grain of salt and say, I'll wait and see. Like most every movie I see, regardless of the rumors that precede it, everything else, I leave it. I'm pretty confident in my enjoyment of movies to say I'm going to go check it out for myself and I'm going to make my own opinion. I'm not going to worry about what the internet's going to say about reshoots and or castings or. I mean, I was even so stupid. I saw a rumor today that Amber Heard, who's playing Mara in Justice League, she's too skinny. She's not going to fit in her costume. Maybe is she going to lose her job? I'm like, really? I mean, this is what. I don't know. The news cycle just kind of bothers me at this point as far as movies go. But as far as me being worried about reshoots, no, I'm not.
Yeah, there is a lot of stuff like that, and that people get freaked out about, because it's weird because practically every movie has not reshoots necessarily, but you make mistakes or you find out in the edit room the story isn't right and you do something else to it and blah 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 blah. So yeah, I mean, I think on Rogue One, the fact that they say the executives were like displeased and all of a sudden there were reshoots. It's like, and honestly, they could be. I mean, it is up to them. They can change it if they want, or
Sure.
Unfortunately, that's what directors struggle with. It's not it's their vision, but it's not really their movie. It's
right. Oh yeah,
this Disney's movie. And so I don't know. But again, I'm with you. It's the first Star Wars movie outside of the episodes, so it is they are taking a little bit of a risk with all new characters,
sure,
all new story, but it's but it still looked like Star Wars to me. So it's
it totally
we'll
yeah. There's no doubt about that. It totally looks like Star Wars, but I agree with you. I mean, they are taking a risk with this. This is something that's outside of. This is the first time we're going to see anything really outside of the trilogies. That's going to tell a separate story about new characters. So I think the executives have a legitimate reason to look at it a little more closely. But do I think it's in trouble? Not really.
I don't either. Now I am interested in hearing your opinion on this though, because I feel like we haven't really talked about it to anybody else besides me and Casey, obviously. How do you feel about this Han Solo movie that's coming? And the fact that they've casted obviously somebody to play a young Han Solo. How worried are you at all about the look of Han Solo?
No, I'm not so much worried about the look of Han Solo. I'm kind of hoping that this movie falls in the category of a young Indiana Jones, as the TV series I'm talking about. That was something that people, I don't know if people were worried about it because the internet wasn't as prevalent as it is today, but young Indiana Jones was a pretty cool show. And I'm hoping, my hope is that this will fall in line with that. I think if you can, and this could even go back to the tone of a comic book, honestly. Han Solo #1, the comic book itself, I really felt like, regardless of whether or not what the story is, or whatever, as long as you capture, the essence of who Han Solo is, the rebel, the smuggler, the smart ass, and all these. If you can capture that, whoever the actor is, I think it'll be fine. Mm-hmm. Because Han Solo definitely has a characteristic that is, it's not, you can't define it, but you know it when you see it. you know. So I think it'll be okay. I am maybe a little skeptical, but for the most part, I'm fine with it as long as whoever, as long as the movie can capture the essence of who Han Solo is.
Yeah. So here's the thing, though, if you may or may not know, but so in Episode 4, Han is apparently mid to late 20s. 27, 28. I think that's
right.
around. He's about 9 years older than, 8 or 9 years older than the twins, Luke and Leia, right?
Right.
So they're 19. He's about 27, 28.
Okay.
So the rumors are this is about 10 years before that. So this is like, just 9 years or so before Episode 4. Or I'm sorry, 9 years after Episode 3, 10 years before, whatever. So he's roughly 18, 19 years old.
Okay.
So the problem, the issue that me and Casey kept bringing up is, okay, so can the person that they casted, could his likeness, because Harrison Ford is Han Solo, right? I mean, his likeness is Han Solo. So it's like,
sure. No, you're right. It's
like, can that guy can he look like Han Solo? Now, here's the question we always brought up is, do you think, is it possible that they may do like a Robert Downey Jr. in Civil War, where they motion capture his his movements and his acting, but they actually put a young Harrison Ford's face? Now, would you be okay with that?
They put like a Blade Runner Harrison Ford on.
Correct. Or a young Indiana Jones, right? Or not young Indiana Jones. I guess he's kind of older there, but what was it, American Graffiti, I guess, or something like that,
American Graffiti would be one. That'd be a good one. That'd be a great one, actually.
You know what I mean? Would you be okay with that? Because to be honest, that's kind of what I want. I actually want to see a digital Han Solo because that looks like Harrison Ford.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, I see your point on that.
Because when you look at like all the comics and all the novels,
right?
That's Harrison Ford.
Sure it is.
It's not a guy that looks like Han. That's
right.
Has the same clothes and has a different face. It's Carrie Fisher. It's Mark Hamill.
Right.
It's Harrison Ford. So this is the first time that you're actually going to possibly change the look of someone's likeness of Han Solo. I mean, again, they may prosthetically try to make him
right.
I would think that, yeah.
I think they would try to do that.
Right.
I think they have to do something because, and it's weird they bring this up because I've been watching this Netflix show called Bloodlines, which has Kyle Chandler.
Casey's watching that, actually, yeah.
Yeah, Bloodlines. And Sissy Spacek is on there. And they did a younger version of her in a flashback. And I was really kind of amazed by how close this younger version of her looked. And it wasn't her digitally or anything like that, but it was somebody who looked remarkably a lot like her. Now, yeah, I'm in agreement with you. I mean, if it's like just some dude who looks completely different from Han Solo or looks completely different from Harrison Ford, yeah, I would be like, yeah, that's not. I'm watching a different dude play Han Solo, and we've talked about this before when Disney acquired Lucasfilm, and when they were going to bring out Star Wars, we're like, you can't have different actors play these characters. Now, that said, I do think, at least for the most part, motion capture has come a long way because I tie this into when, what was that? Oh, God, what's that movie? Tron 2 came out.
Yes.
Tron 2, I thought, when they did the the facial capture, I was like, nah, that's just not working for me. That really sucked me out of the movie. However, that said,
yeah.
when we made the comparison of Robert Downey Jr. in Civil War, that was much better.
That looked incredible.
I could live with that.
And a young Douglas in Ant-Man was incredible.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, it's come a long way since they did. I mean, even since they did Tron 2, which really wasn't all that long ago.
But I think the difference, if I again, I didn't see any behind the scenes on Tron 2, but to me, it seems like they actually made a full CG character younger looking versus a stand-in actor with the dots to overlay, because that's what they did with, I think, with Civil War and with Ant-Man, was I think Robert Downey Jr. stood in, but they had, that's what I would assume. That's why it looks so much better, I think, is they actually had a stand-in person. If I think it was him, and then they overlaid his likeness and his imagery underneath it. The Jeff Bridges one looked like an actual CG character, which I agree with you, because you just saw his movements weren't as real. His facial when he was talking.
For me, it's always the mouth. They've
totally.
never, at least up to that point, even with Final Fantasy. What was it? Final Fantasy? What was it? Yeah, they've never been able. They can do skin, they could do eyes, they could do everything really, really well up to that point. But they can never, for me personally, watching a movie, really get the mouth.
Correct.
It just never looked real.
You're right.
And again, with Robert Downey Jr.'s in Civil War, I thought that was light years better than what had happened in Tron 2. So if they could do something like that, I'd be fine with that, honestly, if it looked good. And they could get Harrison Ford's likeness to be on the actor. But yeah, I think I would have a problem if it was just throw somebody in there like he's the young Han Solo.
Yes,
that may suck me out of the movie just as much as if they try to do a really crappy. Well, not crappy, but if they try to do a CG character that didn't look quite right, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, sure.
That would suck me out of the movie as well. I'd be like, oh, they're trying too hard to do this or that, whether it be one way or the other, and that would really, because for me, it's always about story. But if you throw something in there that just really sucks me out of it, then yeah, I would have a problem with it.
Yeah, because if you think about it, like with Rebels, even though it's CG, it's a CG TV show, but like with Rebels, they 5 years before Episode 4, they brought in and showed a young Princess Leia that looks like a young Carrie Fisher, right? I mean, that's.
Absolutely.
So her likeness, is, so that's what I'm saying. It's. I hope if I was Kathleen Kennedy or the story group, or anybody in charge of that movie, that's what I would be doing. But that's to preserve Harrison Ford's likeness. But
no, yeah, anyway. I'm on board with that. I mean, like I say, we all discussed this when they talk about coming out with Episode 7. We're like, you can't have somebody that looks like Mark Hamill play Luke Skywalker. You just can't.
Totally.
No. You just can't. So, yeah, I agree with you on that.
Okay, cool. So let's, real quick, I did want to mention just one bit of news. E3 is happening this week right now.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a lot of gaming news coming out in the Star Wars universe. Most notably, all these different studios, the gaming studios out there creating different games. I mean, we're going to be getting 3 or 4 brand new games here the next couple of years, which is incredible. I mean, some of the stuff they've shown is the concept art and Have you seen any of that stuff?
I watched the trailer for Battlefront VR.
Yes,
that they're coming out with. And matter of fact, I was talking to Chad, another partner here in 21 Productions.
Yeah.
I was telling him about that, and I was like, you sit in the cockpit of an X-Wing when you're out, you finally launch out there, and then X-Wings just come, or TIE Fighters come flying out. I was like, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Because they did a good job of, in the trailer, when you sit in the cockpit and you can look around, you can like look up and look sideways and see what's happening. I'm like, that would be awesome. Yeah, that looked killer.
Yeah, because right now you can play Battlefront and play in be an X-wing, and you can actually be sitting in the cockpit. You can use your thumbstick to kind of look around a little bit, but not really. So you are restricted. But yeah, according to this, if you got the headset on, you can look up out into space while your X-wing's still flying straight, and it's like
that looks
wow.
Cool. That looks cool.
You know, talk about motion sickness. I'm going to get sick as hell flying that thing. So there's that big news, and then the big news that just came out today was the Bespin add-on that's happening actually on Tuesday, June 21st. It releases on Battlefront. This is the second expansion pack that has come out. The first was Tatooine and Jabba's palace and stuff, and then this one is the Bespin, which you can fight on. There's the maps on Bespin, Cloud City are available. 2 new characters, Dengar on the dark side and Lando on the light side will be available as heroes to play. It's the launch trailer just came out again today, so go check it out. I'm sure it's on StarWars.com, and it's on EA's channel that they're releasing a bunch of stuff on right now. But it looks incredible. Battlefront is such a good game. It's such a good game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Love it.
Well, I'm pretty sure that I'll be buying a gaming system here. Maybe not right away, but it's just funny. Tonight, my 4-year-old laying in bed, said goodnight, put him to sleep, and on his wall we have a whole Star Wars set of characters. We got Boba Fett, Darth Vader, Chewbacca, everyone's on there. This whole thing we got on his wall. And when I left the room, I heard him in there look at the wall he goes, Chewbacca, Boba Fett, Darth Vader. It's just like going through everything. I was like, yeah, I'm going to be buying some games and some more movies. And I see that, I'm not going to escape any of that stuff anytime soon, which is cool for me. I get to kind of relive it again, so I'm excited.
So which one are you leaning towards? Gaming system?
I don't know yet. It's weird because I hear, first of all, I'm not a big gamer, but, I hear both pros and cons for both systems. I know that some people I work with, I know one guy I work with has both an Xbox and a PS4. Some people will say PS4 straight up or Xbox straight up. So I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure yet. Which, in this case, it may be both. I don't know.
Yeah,
whatever.
Well, I will tell you also at E3, they announced the Xbox One S. I don't know if you've seen this.
I've not seen that.
That's
one thing I have not seen.
It's white. E3. You go check it out. It's white. It's smaller than the Xbox. I got the Xbox One, so it's smaller than that. Better processor. And actually, what's the kicker on it? Because I can whatever. It's still good gaming. It's still good stuff. But the kicker on this one that I thought was incredible. 4K display.
Oh, really?
So you can stream Netflix in 4K.
Ah, well, okay. That could be cool.
It could be cool. So games, I think are still a step away from being 4K. But and I don't know if I don't know if PlayStation has announced their new console at all, but I would seriously look at next. And plus, it depends. Again, if you're a gamer like me, and I'm not a full gamer by any means, but I am partial to Xbox, Xbox exclusive games like Halo and Gears of War. So that's why I think Xbox is a better. And plus, I just think the layout and the console is much better. But anyway, okay, so let's get into just a little bit more talk about the comics here and kind of do some reviews. So this week, Star Wars number 20 hits shelves, and Han Solo number 1. Speaking of Han Solo, so let's go into Han Solo number 1. What'd you think about that?
I really liked it. I think again, this kind of goes back to what we talked about with who's playing Han Solo and how they're going to do it or whatever. I really felt the comic captured captured the essence of Han Solo, but it really captured the essence of Princess Leia as well. That was a great dynamic they had in the comic itself. All in all, I would say, you give it a grade. I give it a 4 out of 5. I thought it was a very solid book. I'm interested to see where it goes because, it really, this is interesting because if you are, if you're hardcore Star Wars fan, it was interesting to say that, because most of the books up to this point have been all about, either, Poe Dameron has been prior to, right before Episode 7, or looking for, Lord Zenteka and all that stuff. But this is, Han Solo after the Battle of Yavin, and he's going back to smuggling. He's goes back to what he doesn't leave the rebellion, but he kind of pulls back from the rebellion, and he goes back to smuggling. And what's interesting about it was I love the initial panels because it's like he's in, he's in the cantina of the bar or whatever, and his inner dialogue is all about, I've had all these jobs offered to me, and they're all pretty easy, pretty good scores, easy money, no worries. But he's reluctant to take them. He's worried about the Empire, find out where he is, and I think with his his high profile, he's very concerned about being caught, or not only caught, but actually causing damage to the rebellion, which is an interesting,
right.
Again, is a cool little thing for Han Solo. But I definitely thought it was a solid book, and I'm really looking forward to see where it's going. Art was great. Writing was great. I really liked it a lot.
Yeah, definitely. I'm the same way. I really did enjoy it too. And again, we talked about how I think this is a limited series. I think it's only 5 issues, but very good. I think the artwork was phenomenal in this. Really loved the art in it. So go check that out. I think the next one, Star Wars number 20. What do you think about Star Wars number 20?
Star Wars number 20, I initially, gotta be honest with you, it's not most books, every book, honestly, every book has a crawl. This one didn't have a crawl. It actually had,
correct.
It had an opening to say that this was. It's kind of a standalone story, and it is when Luke found the the journal of old Ben Kenobi, and he was reading a story. So it's kind of a standalone story for him. And what I really liked about the book was that much like the prequels, where we saw Anakin Skywalker from a little kid going into Darth Vader, this is the first time we really see Luke as a young kid who kind of comes in being that pilot, being the hero, being the one who comes along. Even though he has his problems with his Uncle Owen, I thought it was great how it started with Uncle Owen coming back and saying hey, I got parts for the Skyhopper. Let's work on it together, because he had done something to upset Luke, and Luke was going to run away. So that was a cool little thing, and we get a little bit of, Luke didn't get very far on this particular runaway. It wasn't his first time. Certainly wasn't going to be his last. It shows Luke's rebellious side, for lack of a better term. He get independent, want to be a pilot and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And I felt like Obi-Wan fighting, and this is the whole thing about the story. And we've talked about this. I asked you, I asked Casey today, actually, about how do you pronounce this particular Wookiee's name? And it's the Black Wookiee who was literally banned from the Wookiee community because he was a bad guy. He's the Wookiee. He's called Black Chrysantan. We're going with that. I've never heard. We scoured the internet to find someone to say what's the proper pronunciation for this character. I haven't heard it yet, so I'm going with this. If I'm wrong, tell me later. But Black Chrysantan, because his nickname is Santy. This is really the story, and if you've seen it, I mean, you talked about earlier, Dave, about Vader Down. He was he was a big part of that, and he's been a big part of a couple of the different spinoffs of Star Wars. In this book, prior to this, you'd only see him with a big scar over his left eye, basically down his whole face. And this is the book you find out how he gets it. He is hired by Jabba to go down to Tatooine to find out who had squashed Jabba's basically his water tax during the Great Drought. Mm-hmm. He had sent his three best, thugs down to Tatooine, and no one knew who had taken them out. And Chrysantan came down and was looking for the person who's going to find it. He captures Owen and takes him off to basically torture him. And Obi-Wan shows up, and it was kind of cool because this kind of goes back to Episode 4. He's old Ben Kenobi, and he doesn't want, when he's fighting Chrysantan, he doesn't want to pull his saber because I can't. It's really risky for me to expose myself as a Jedi on Tatooine.
Right.
So I really shouldn't be doing this, but he has to because he's got no choice because he's not going to let anything happen to Uncle Owen or Luke or anything else. That's why he's there, to protect Luke. So he's not going to let anything happen to his family. And this story takes place 10 years prior to the Battle of Yavin. So it was kind of cool to see Luke jump in his Skyhopper and be the hero and kind of save the day, as it were, with Owen, his uncle. And to see Ben, really exposing himself as a Jedi on Tatooine for the first time. So all in all, even for a kind of a standalone story within the Star Wars, because with Star Wars right now we've been dealing with Dr. Aphra and Princess Leia, and it's been a whole thing. It's been a whole different story. So to have a standalone story at this point in the series. I thought it was really, really good. I really liked how it played out. I liked, the characterizations of all the characters were spot on. Artwork was, I know some people don't really get into the artwork that looks realistic, but I thought it was awesome.
I thought it was too.
I thought it was awesome. I loved it. So all in all, I give this another 4.5 out of 5 stars for the comic book.
Yeah, and if you've been reading it, obviously you kind of know this is the third one that's out of the Kenobi journals.
Right.
I think it was issue 8, and then 15, and then now 20. So it seems like they're what's happening is they're doing kind of a story arc, and then once that arc ends, they kind of throw this in, then they start another arc, and then they throw another one in, and so I think this is really cool because this is this is kind of the rumored movie that everybody wants, the Kenobi years when he's on Tatooine and what he's been doing. And, these are stories that you were getting out of that, which is pretty awesome. Because I just love to see Ewan McGregor, just be Obi-Wan again and do a movie like that.
I love the fact that at the end he was, because before Chrysanthemum had come down to fight, he's his inner monologue was about hanging out with the Banthas, and then at the end, Obi-Wan goes back to the Banthas, and he knows them by name. He's like saying, hey, why are you feeling like that? He's like talking to the Banthas. I'm like, that's pretty cool that Obi-Wan has this relationship with the Banthas that no one's ever had before, we've ever seen before. That was kind of fun. I like that. That was very interesting.
Very. All right, so next week, what do you know what's coming out next week by any chance?
Right this second.
All right, yeah. So while you're doing that, I'll just say that we'll be hoping that there's some new news coming out for next week. Again, it's been really slow on the Episode 8 front, really slow on the Rogue One front, as it's summertime now. So we'll keep obviously up to date every week. InsideTheForce.com, at Inside the Force, to follow us on Twitter and Facebook.
Right now, I'm only seeing. Man, there's not a whole lot coming out next week. Right now, I only see something I didn't know was coming out, which was the Episode 7 Force Awakens adaptation, number 1.
Oh, okay. Yes. That's right. They're doing.
It looks like that's the only thing. Yeah, I don't see. I don't see anything else coming out, honestly. Star Wars wise, it's just the adaptation to Episode 7. So
interesting.
But I'll read it.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just looking at that too. Yeah, I'll definitely read that. Definitely pick up that graphic novel. So that'll probably be a 4 or 5 issue run as well, as you can get the adaptation of that. That's pretty cool. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Again, thanks for Russ joining us on the episode and reviewing comics. Yes, as long as there's a comic out, we'll get Russ's review.
I'll read it.
Yes, to talk about it. But it's good, because and again, I'm going to get somebody on here to do the novels, because again, it takes me forever to read a novel, so you'll never get that review from me. Russ is experts at comics, so we'll leave it to somebody else to do novels. But yeah, okay. So thanks for listening, everybody. Again, Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens adaptation number 1 will be out next week, so we'll get that from Russ next week. Casey will be back here next week to talk whatever news comes out. A reminder for June 20th, which is Monday, coming up. Lego Star Wars: The Freemakers, the Freemaker Adventures starts on Disney XD. So check that out. I'm going to check that out. We'll do a little review of that as well next week, and then sum up whatever stuff happens over the next few days from E3 to see what happens there. So, all right, guys. Thanks for listening. Russell Johnson, you can follow him on Twitter at Director421. I am D Cottingham on 21. Not D Cottingham 21. Not on 21. Whatever. I don't know what the hell I said that for. D Cottingham 21. He's Director421. Of course, Casey's Kryptonian1138 on Twitter. We will be back next week. Follow us at InsideTheForce.com, Twitter, Facebook. Get the show on iTunes Radio, iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and TuneIn Radio. Get all those links on the website. As we have told you to, everything's getting kind of revamped on the 21 Network. More details to that will come in the next few weeks, so stay tuned. Thanks, Russ, for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody, for listening, and may the Force be with you.
This has been a production of the 21 Network. For more great podcasts, visit 21network.com. To view additional content, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/21network. Follow us on Twitter at 21network for the latest news and updates. The 21 Network, for the fan and all of us.